Hello, my name is Reverend Angie Buchanan. I am a minister with Earth Traditions Pagan Church community in the Midwest, United States. I'm a lifelong pagan and an animist. First, I'd like to say thank you to all of you here attending this important event. I wish we could be together in person, but one day we will be again. I'd also like to say thank you to the Parliament of the World's Religions for consistently providing a forum for members of different beliefs to come together, to share perspectives, to dialogue about common issues that are of concern to all of us, and to dispel the misconceptions we may have about one another. Paganism is a religious and spiritual tradition that is most often misunderstood, but it is actually where the recording of human history begins. It is through pagan civilizations that we get much of the language, architecture, writing, tools, and the calendar we use today. Our days of the week, the planets, and most of the constellations are named after pagan gods. Ours is a history still alive in the halls of memory. We pagans share a reverence for nature, the honoring of the land and its cycles as sacred and sentient, with a myriad of different personalities and a language of its own. The land remembers everything. Its layers reveal the unblemished truth, stories of sorrow, secrets long buried under buildings and hidden in caves, tales of conquest, of the extinction of animals, the oppression of people, and the erasure of languages, cultures, and traditions intentionally destroyed by those seeking power and dominance. This grief is generational. It is written in our DNA, carved upon the bones of our venerated ancestors, held deeply in our cell memory, and imprinted on our psyches. Today, we are all grieving, and we are all living together in a world that is grieving and largely in denial about the impact that the state of grief is having on our overall well-being. Grief is often the emotion we experience after a loss, but this grief is more than that, because the losses are still happening, and we can see even more to come in the future if we don't find a way to resolve this together. How are we to cope when we live in the anticipation of losses that just keep coming? Losses of our beloveds from COVID and other illnesses, and from civil unrest, from religious and racially motivated violence, and from war. Pestilence, poverty, environmental extremes wash across our planet, leaving death and destruction in their wake. And we grieve the loss of our planet itself as it used to be, versus as we have come to know it now. Our cells remember a place where crystal clear rivers were filled with salmon, where skies darkened with flocks of birds, and where the sounds of human goings on harmonized with the sounds of other than human lives and beings existing and thriving. Earth, our flesh and our bones, our mother, our physical bodies are made of her. Our bones quake with her as she withstands our assaults upon her, with our bombs and fracking and other violations that deplete resources, define boundaries, and turn us against one another. Air, our breath and our voice, also the breath and the voice of our mother, as her winds whip into hurricanes and tornadoes, their screams and moaning echoing our own deep sobbing and grief. Fire, our passion, our spirit, our creativity, mirrored in her volcanoes as they erupt, and as her flames rage through forests and neighborhoods, destroying hope and turning dreams to ash. Water, our blood, sweat, and tears. Her weeping is also torrential. Her blood runs through the streets, mingling with our own. Tsunamis, cyclones, floods. Somewhere along the way, we lost our ability to connect with all of this grief of the soul that underlies all of our personal grief as we fight a tiny virus, a microscopic entity that has brought us to our knees. And we grieve our dead in a world that has lost the ability to feel compassion, that has forgotten how to be compassionate. Author Megan Devine says, grief is the howling at the center. It is raw and real. It is love in its most wild form. The time for transformation is now. Destruction brings transformation, hope, and possibility. As we stand in the wreckage of what has been wrought by greed and the hunger for power, we still have the power to transform. There's wisdom hidden in nature. Go there. If you cannot go to the forest, go to the stones, because each stone holds an observance of history within it. Go to the tree, for each tree holds the knowledge of the past and the potential of the future forest within it. Go to the water and listen to its music as its song shapes the land through which it flows. We must relearn how to speak the language of nature, for it belongs to all of us. And it is there that we will find humility, comfort, and compassion in the realization of our smallness. If COVID has taught us anything, it is that the very small can also be very powerful. That 2 weeks of refraining from the status quo of consumerism clearly revealed the Earth's ability to regenerate, to heal itself. And the more of us that work together, the faster this healing will take hold. Together, we can change the big things. Air is life. Life is breath. Breath is prayer. May we transform our grief to love by harmonizing our breath and the sound of our grieving, our keening, with the song of creation, the song of the earth, together, one breath at a time.